Well, hello again. Well, this has been a wild time, hasn't it? Gotta believe we're gonna get closer and closer to being able to get this thing fixed pretty quickly, and so we're certainly praying to that end. We're looking forward to seeing you again, hopefully really soon, and obviously we got the weekend before Easter we're hoping for, and Easter as well, so we're looking forward to that. I wanted to remind you of something I thought was kind of interesting. Most of you are probably aware of the story of Esther. A really interesting story there with her cousin Mordecai and how she came kind of through a beauty pageant and came up and ended up being the wife of Xerxes, and some really cool stuff that happened through that process of that. She became the most powerful woman in all of Persia. Lots of stuff happening. But if you remember at that time, they ended up having this bad guy named Haman that wanted to destroy the Jewish race. And in the process of doing that, she found herself in a position where she had a chance to be able to stand up and say, nope, not on my watch, not going to let it happen. If you remember through the process, she was concerned for herself when that took place. And her cousin Mordecai was fairly appalled at that situation, from where she had come from to where she was as a Jewish woman at this time in a position of power that she had. If you remember, he made a statement to her that was pretty profound. And he said to her in the book of Esther, he said, how do you know that you have not achieved this position for just such a time as this? And our song that we wrote, For Such a Time, is based on that concept. The reason I think that's interesting, guys, is we find ourselves at an interesting point in human history. It's kind of wild what's going on around us, the kind of things that we haven't seen happen before, at least not as far as what's taking place with the virus. Obviously, you had the swine flu back in 2009 that killed 18,000 people. I just read last week that the flu in this season, the flu has already killed 22,000 people, and we haven't even heard about it at this point. So we have seen things like this and worse than this take place. But as far as people's reaction, as far as what they're doing, as far as how they're kind of freaking out, as they're social distancing from each other and afraid they're going to catch something and die from it, and very much living in fear, I want you to think about the opportunity that you and I have to be able to look at them and help them to have a faith and a trust in something much greater than themselves. Because what's happening is they're realizing how frail they are. They're realizing how kind of sketchy their life really is. And when push comes to shove and things get difficult, they're not really sure how to be able to resolve that. And they're finding out the weakness that is in their, if you will, their worldview. You and I get a chance to be able to be a little bit like Esther, that maybe we have achieved this position with them for just such a time as this. To be able to have the kind of impact to look at them and say, you know what, there's something more than all of this. And especially with Easter coming up, guys, and the whole concept of the resurrection and what Christ did for us, the reality is that we have a chance to be able to have the kind of impact that gives them strength. You know, it's interesting. In Psalm chapter 18, verse 1, it's interesting because it makes a statement there. It says, you know, that the Lord is our rock, our fortress, and our deliverer. My God is my rock in whom I take comfort, or I get the opportunity to be able to trust in Him. Now think about that. You've got the rock that is the foundation. You've got the fortress itself that is the thing that is protecting, but it's based on that foundation. And then you're the deliverer inside making everything work. What we're saying there is that we've got something that has it all. Right? The reality is that God is that kind of strength that we have, and we have an opportunity, just like Esther did at this moment, to be able to stand up for God and God's principles and be able to say to other people, you know, there's something more than what you're living with. I would hope that you're not living in a level of fear that the rest of the world is living in, that you have a hope that makes us be able to be very different. The Bible says that we grieve not as those in the world who have no hope. And so we have an opportunity to be able to understand a broken world. We understand the danger, and we understand we live in a very dangerous world. We understand it when things are actually going well. We never lose sight of the fact that this is a broken world and therefore dangerous, and that we need God's protection. This is a chance for you to be able to remind other people around you, your friends, your family, your co-workers, people that understand how easily their world without God got completely upended, whereas our world with God, while the same thing is happening, the same train wreck is taking place, we have confidence, we have trust, we have a belief system, even in the fact that even if we lost our life, all it would mean is we're in heaven with God, and therefore we are even better off. We have a chance to be able to step up, guys. And so remember, how do you know that you have not achieved this position for just such a time as this? when you get an opportunity to be able to make a difference, look around for that chance and step forward and make that difference with other people in your life. And we'll look forward to seeing you really soon at church.